questions?
Board members, do you have any questions of Carol? Then I'll entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report. We have, you make a motion. We have a second. Second. Tom Trammell. Any further discussion on the treasurer's report? Call for a motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to the president's report. Here you have a couple of things that we have, the previous events and the picnic.
The Easter egg hunt, it turned out real great. Several members said they are really enjoying our events that we have every month. And you can keep walking around here and people talk about how good they are. And I think it's good for the community to get together like that every month. I appreciate Lonnie helping me get all that done. And, all the people that volunteer to help out. I mean, people just pop up and volunteer. You don't have to ask them, they just show up, don't they, Lonnie? So it's been really good. And
You had a pretty good turnout too.
Oh, yeah, we had 37 kids. So that's not just a
Very
goal.
good too.
Yeah, it turned out real great. And the fish fry is set up for the 22nd. Big John's already called and ordered everything from Cedar River for me. And I need everybody to get the fish fryers ready, and any man that wants to help that we can, we'll be doing that at 5 o'clock on the 21st, right, Bill?
Right.
Yeah.
I'd like somebody that's been, put it up to be there. so
Yeah, I'm
that-
gonna contact Bill Martin, if he'll at least come out there and show us how.
Yeah, you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that, I think we can figure it out, but I've done it 2 or 3 times now, but I follow directions, so I didn't, but we can figure it out.
Anyway, the adults are $9.50, and the kids 12 and under is $4 each.
What'd you say?
It's $9.50.
Oh, I thought it was 9.
No, $9.50. That's what we talked about last month.
Was that what was stated in the board meeting last month?
It's in here, it says somewhere.
It's $9.50 for adults.
It says 9.
It said 9,
Okay. Well, we
yeah,
can-
That's what I put online too.
but if it's 9.50, it's 9.50.
I mean, it's up to the board.
If you
Mr.
both
Chairman,
have
is
it
this
as
the amount that's
9.50,
needed
I
at
will
950,
change
is that what you
mine.
figured out?
Yeah, cause we're gonna buy cod ain't cheap.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I move that we set the amount at $9.50.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion on the price of the spring picnic food cookout? Okay, call for a motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, you can finish your report. We've got the fish price down here.
Okay, and I hired a cop to do Memorial Day weekend. I think we only really need one, cause we got Bill instead of 2.
Okay.
And I've been getting a lot of complaints about this hot dog stand down there, but I've been telling people there's really nothing I can do about it, because it's not, that land's owned by Duke Electric. So they want us to go down, at least ask them to do something about all the flags they put out, because it's hard to see, and they think it's gonna cause that.
Actually, there's, they're almost infringing on 3 properties. I think the state of Florida, Duke, and the county. So, the real issue there is liability, for all of those agencies, for it not being, regulated, because, there's a significant, amount of accidents that happen at that intersection, just with people missing a turn and looking, but if you look and are distracted, it could be very, very dangerous. So, once again, I guess we really need to get back to our commissioner, start with the commissioner, and then, move it from there, because, you might can be the
I'm
first
gonna have to
place.
talk to them and, ask them if, they had got approval from anybody to be there, because I've had a lot of people ask me the same thing, so I wanted to be able to give them an answer. And then they said that they got, approval from a sheriff deputy, and they got approval from the electric company. So,
They can tell you that, but
but
not.
I'm just telling, I wanted something so I could tell the members if they, when they asked me, because they've
I'll
been
ask
asking.
for the name of the sheriff's deputy and who they spoke with at Duke Electric. I mean, going forward, you talk to them again.
Yeah.
Let me ask the board, does the board all feel the same way? I mean, we certainly want somebody to be able to run a business, but that is,
I have a question, because I know when we sold Girl Scout cookies at Walmart, we had to have some kind of paper from the county that it was okay, it was like, and we had to have that on every Girl Scout, had to have a
Kinda
copy
like
of
a
this.
permit?
A permit, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it was.
I bet there probably is one. Yes, James?
Well, I talked to the health department,
Yes.
and it's outside the city limits. So basically, it's an issue whether they're licensed through Tallahassee to have a food truck, whether they've got, a medical test, this, that, and it's just like if you work at Burger King. You can have a certain disease and work at Burger King. But we don't have any idea what kind of regulations are there, so we don't know about the safety of our members, besides the traffic issues. I went through probably 4 different departments in Tallahassee, keep getting little electronics, and I never could get anything out of Tallahassee.
Okay, so some kind of regulation. First and foremost, it looks like they're predominantly on Duke Energy property. And I know Duke Energy already had to deal with one lawsuit there with a death at the railroad crossing. And that's when they went back in and reinforced all of their fences and so forth. Well, that's the same situation, so I'm sure they would be tagged in a lawsuit because it's there and it's pretty obvious. I mean, no one's tried to stop that. So it'd be probably wise for us to send an email to Duke in Tallahassee. They've got an officer or person that controls this.
Okay.
So why don't we do that, Hilda? We gotta make sure that we get that documented and done. And that way, that's a record that we made that attempt.
Do we know where our property actually ends and Greenway starts?
You know, we don't have any property, our property is lots. How-
Inside where
Yes,
Utah's
right.
at?
The county has the road coming in, the state has the highway, and Duke has the easement all the way through.
Okay.
So, and I think the county, the state, and Duke somehow or another through the easement process are all sharing the same property.
Kind
They're
of
all
like the
kinda
signs that,
connected.
is that our property, or we just have permission to have a
We
sign?
have permission to have them there.
Okay, so that's not even our property. to
Right,
sign.
we also have permission to have the, marquees for our entrance. Duke gave us a right to do that, to
Right.
clean it up, so we did that and that helped keep it clean, so. Okay, we'll take care of, the email, there first, and we'll contact Ford, see if he's got anything there. Yes,
Columbia County also requires you to have a mobile, food vendor's permit to operate one of those stands as well. I know from experience, that would be true.
okay, we'll check and see if they. That won't be hard to get if they want that, unless we'll knock out all the other stones also.
I just have one more thing.
Okay.
We've been having a lot of traffic at the gates, and then Bill's been talking about how people are not following the rules and about maybe going ahead and start manning the gates. People are parking automobiles in that boat ramp. Trailers and boats are having to park outside of the boat ramp. And he just feels we need to start running gates.
Yeah, well, the thing about that, and he brought that to my attention about, I don't know that it's clearly defined, that you can't park your car in there. Does the signage say you can't park the car in, but you can park a car in a trailer? So see, that would be, honestly, I might do that. I wouldn't be thinking about that. I might, if I'm coming here with some friends, I'd.
Well,
pull
I'm
mine
just saying,
start-
we're getting so busy, we might just start running the gates, because even Easter weekend, they was active all the way down here and parking over here in
Right.
the boat.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying to be clearly understood what our procedure is with
I
that.
just put another sign out here, just a few minutes, in between coming here.
Uh,
And it's the same one, but a bigger one. I put it on the guard shack, and, it says vehicle and trailer parking.
Okay, that's what we need. And, you know, it could be that we can give a few warnings or whatever, and then if someone wants to persist with that, Bill, then we can have them towed.
Does it say vehicle and trailer, or does it say vehicle with trailer? Just to make sure that we don't have somebody
You are correct.
nitpicking you when you're done.
I'm a boat lawyer now.
Well, just you know, it kind of becomes vague or whatever.
Give me a,
I get it.
give me a Sharpie, I'll change it.
Okay, so Bill, you got that under control then, right?
Well, best I can. If you want me to do that, that's no problem. 'Cause that wasn't fair for people that were having to park outside
Sure.
with their boat, with big old long boat trailers, and there's about a half a dozen cars parked just a sedan. vans parked in there,
Right,
and people going back and forth to their whatever, and
it's a boat ramp.
it's a boat ramp.
Right, got it. Okay,
And the person that's gonna be sitting there is gonna have problems with it.
well, I think we're good with that, so, you good with that, Terry? We're gonna work on it, okay?
So when are we gonna start the gate?
I don't know. Let's see here, today is the 11th. Typically, we start, May 1st, that's about 3 or 4 more
No,
weeks.
we usually start Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
When is Memorial, that's
The
31st?
end of it.
That's the end of
We didn't
May.
start-
See, I was optimistic about Memorial Day being a little early this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
It's been busy.
Well, what do you think, board members? Do we want to start a little early?
Just
Yeah,
one, just
what's
one
the
minute,
of the
okay.
supposed
parks.
to be? What's this
You wouldn't do
supposed
all
to
the
be?
parks, can't you just do the ones that are most active right now?
Well, if they get in a hurry, they get out at point's not being shut and locked either on the weekend.
That's for having both problems. Well, I'll do it on mine, but.
Okay, so what do you recommend, when would you wanna start that? I think the board is pretty much in it.
I say no later than the beginning of March, first weekend of March.
May? Okay,
May, I'm sorry.
all right. So board members, is everyone in agreement? We'll start that first weekend in May with, and we're gonna go to, the three locations? Okay.
Yeah.
So that'll be Boat Ramp, Hodar, and, Point. Okay, all right, we'll do that.
Mr. Hunter,
Yes, ma'am.
on your parking in the boat ramp,
Yes.
if you restrict the vehicles, what about people that are launching kayaks and small boats that are in a truck?
Kind of a
Then,
tough one. I think what happened is, what Bill saw was a group of, someone pulls in a deck boat, and then you got 2 or 3 other cars, and they're all pulling in there and parking also. So we're not gonna be at 100%, and I don't know what that answer would be, but,
That's what we
Why
struggled
can't they
with last
carpool to
year.
get there? If they got property around here, they all could carpool, so you don't have 5 cars and a boat trailer.
well, you can restrict cars that are not launching,
Right.
but if they're launching, whether it be a kayak or
That,
whatever,
I agree with that.
I
So-
think the person manning the gate can do that, but we're not gonna be able to.
that's, I think,
Yeah.
the way it should be
It
run.
says parking, it doesn't say we couldn't let them launch.
Right.
So they can launch and then just pull back outside,
Well,
and
what,
leave the trailers parked inside.
But I
We're
don't
having
think,
trouble.
because I don't think we really want the trailers on the road. That's much more of a hazard, that'd be better to have them inside. Will you agree, Sandy? With trailers, really?
Well, that is causing a problem with all the trailers
Okay.
on the road.
All right. Terry, anything else? Okay, I'm gonna add something to, I guess y'all probably saw today, the county was here repairing potholes on the sides of the roads. Is everybody seeing that? I talked to, a couple of the operators, grader operators, and, they said it's just getting worse and worse, and what's happening is now, this happened 3 times, I saw it 3 times this weekend. Someone in a red maroon truck with a whip antenna. And I tried to get out and catch the person, I couldn't catch them. And they are actually getting in those holes and putting it in 4-wheel drive, and I mean just spinning it and tearing the roads up. Now, it costs the county a significant amount to go back and even try to repair and patch those, because they're bringing lime rock, loads of lime rock in. It's going all over the place. It's actually pushing it on the sides of the roads. Your cars are getting messed up. I mean, you're gonna get messed up enough as it is, but we shouldn't have to deal with that on a daily basis because somebody did that destruction. So, I talked with, the road people today. I've got a call into the county manager to find out. It is a crime. I forget what they called it, but it is a crime, and if we can get pictures and some evidence and get it in, we can start the process. But we need to let these people know that, folks are gonna be looking out for this, because it really does. I mean, some of those holes are 1.5 feet deep. And, you could drive your car, you could break an axle or something.
Look in the wreck, so in the
Yeah.
damn trees.
Is that what happened down at this number 2
Yes.
entrance though? Did you see it today?
Yeah, no,
They're
I,
spinning around, it was when I came up today.
but anyway, we can only do the best we can, to see it, denote it, and, report it to the authorities. That's the best we can do. This really needs to stop. There must have been 4 or 5 just along these back streets through here, and that's pretty major. So,
They
And rainy
go down
season's
there
coming
at
up
Point
somewhere.
Park in that turnaround at Point Park.
Right.
Oh, it's just terrible sometimes. I see them come in and I'll be in the park, you know, and
So when Mr. Trammell gets his cameras out there on the road and
Yeah.
pictures of all of that.
I was hoping he'd put his blue lights out.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make y'all aware of that, and if anybody knows who this person is, might wanna ask them to stop, because we're gonna go after these folks. There's another person in a green pickup truck was with him, he got his buddy, and both of them came back and
But
tried
could
to
you
outdo the
take
other.
pictures and video and help, I mean, we could submit them to the, Columbia County Sheriff's Office. I mean, if it's several people seeing the same thing, I mean, and if they're not witnessing, but they see it, it's a habitual.
Have them submit the picture to you guys,
Right.
that way the folks don't feel like they're, you know.
Right, we can just get it back to this board and we can take it through. Okay. Terry, you have anything else?
Yes, good.
Good. And I tell you and, Vonda and, Kathy and all the girls, y'all have done the hours of time y'all put in to put on these events. And you're volunteers, and you're having to put up with all the hassle that you have to put up with, and it's most appreciated. Yes, Rick, you agree?
Speaking of yeah, I absolutely agree. Speaking of volunteering, they asked Sandy and me to serve as the Easter Bunny this year. And, you know, I went into doing that job with the mindset of, yep, giving a little something back to the community and so forth. But, big takeaway for me that day was when we stepped out toward the pavilion in our bunny suits from the little shack back there. And these little kids just ran up there, threw their arms around us, and they had their faces of just sheer, utter joy and excitement at meeting the Easter Bunny.
It's so awesome, sincere.
Seriously, it's really hard to put into words, just what a great day.
Don't tell anybody, but I saw several board members do that too.
It was really a great day. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Rita.
It is, but those are our future members.
Right.
Yes.
Appreciate all y'all doing. We can't thank you enough, because it is a volunteer organization.
You were a fine looking bunny.
Thanks, I think.
Okay, so, that's all Terry has. We'll move on to the park manager's report. Bill?
I just want to thank all the board members for the assistance I've been getting from you. Maybe most of you anyway. No, whenever I call or stop or whatever, I really appreciate the chance you give me some direction and how to handle certain situations and stuff. Appreciate it. All right.
We appreciate what you're doing too, Bill.
The gates are gonna continue to be a problem. I'm gonna bring it up every time, just so the public, so the members know that they are still a problem. And I don't understand why, you know, is it because they're trying to prove something to me? You know, because I go around and I lock them, and I can go back 15 minutes later, and there'll be a few of them unlocked, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I
So,
don't,
Just disrespect for authority, and at the end of the day,
Yeah.
Bill, we talked about this.
right.
And people need to know this out there. It's all about safety while we lock gates, and it's about our members. It's not about people outside.
And that's what I'm worried about, is the folks that come in, because, my suggestion to that, and I'm not gonna do it all the time, because we don't have time to do it, but, is maybe giving Charlie and Vonda some times that, like, if I go by and I see it, and then go back, just so happen to go back by, and it's unlocked again, if I can get times, maybe you guys can look, and then we can start nailing down some of these folks that wanna continue to do this. I have had them tell me they're gonna leave them open, they're, you know, oh, I'm lazy and all, you know, I'll have times to excuse. I said, you can't do that. I said, what about the people that young folks that are down there, and if somebody comes in and hurts them, and don't, you know, I tell them all that stuff. It doesn't seem to, you know, there are people that they agree 100%, but I'm just saying that. Okay, good people move that, whenever you move tables, please put them back. I can't move some of these tables by myself. I put put 2 new tables down in Hodor Park, but I use my trailer and just lean them off, you know, into their spot. But it wasn't there one few days, and somebody moved it all the way over to a buy and grill. And they're trashing the parks too, some of them. They leave it right there. I pick it up. One guy on Facebook said that's my job. Well, no, that isn't my job. My job is to make sure the place is safe. You know what I mean? And I will pick stuff up though, just like any member would do. But, you know, it's just crazy. They're,
You're not having a problem with, at Hodar with trash, are you?
well, I found, yeah, I did. but-
Not, I mean, not at the levels you are at
No, but
the ones without cameras?
I walked the whole, when I go into Hodor Park, I walk the whole circumference, because I find glass bottles sometimes.
Right.
People throwing them over into the edges of the grass, it's not cut. And, you know, you may have a member call you and ask you why I do that, but I do, I'll walk the edges of the park and not even go down the center sometimes. Last week, somebody changed a baby's diaper right there. Who in the heck leaves a nasty baby diaper right in the dang park, you know? It's people that don't respect their.
It's not like a day.
And the problem is that the can was right there, you know, and they left a empty bottle of water, so apparently they had a drink in between, or they watched the baby's butt. I don't know, but I can't imagine, you know. I'm still,
Make your point.
I know, that's what, he's gonna redact me next time. He already took me off the dang, agenda. Still seeing dogs in the park. And, you know, I don't know how you guys wanna handle, that one that comes across, what's it, Rocky, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I saw him yesterday, and he came up to my truck, he was over at Boat Ramp Park, and he got a sign that says nipples on it, I think.
Yeah.
But, nice dog, he followed me all the way down to Point Park.
I've had to change my feeding time with my cats now, because he knows exactly when I feed them.
We do have one gentleman that's, and I've talked to Terry about it, that, feels that he can bring his dog in anyway. She had problems with him last year, and I've had probably 3 instances. First 2 were very good conversations, you know, we had a good conversation, he agreed, da. But this last one, I got it on camera, so, you know, he didn't feel that he needed to be told that he can't have his dog here anymore. And I said, well, go to one of the other parks, but he, section of fence at Midway when you go in Midway Park, there's a section of fence, and we're part owners, but the people that live there are part owners too. And we're the ones, the reason why our fence is all tore down, because people have tried to hit it and stuff. But we need to, work on fixing that for them people.
Is it on the left or left side?
Left side as you're going in,
Okay.
right along there. It looks like crap. It needs to be repaired.
We're gonna talk about some fence tonight also, so that might be a good time to repair it.
It's used by 4-wheelers going around the park.
Yeah, that's what it is. And as Terry already told you, we're still having, problem with trailers, not only in the Boat Ramp Park, where they're bringing them into the, other parks too. And I've been leaving messages on people's windows, and I have it out with one person, I didn't have it out, I just told him he couldn't have a trailer. And he seemed to think that, well, how do I get my kids' kayaks down to the water? That was at Midpoint. I said, well, there's no trailers in here. There's no room for other people to park whenever, when it gets busy, and people are if they bring trailers in that park. So, I tell them, I said, I know there's not a lot of cars here right now, but I still need to tell you there's no trailers, because if somebody sees you, and they come in next week or something, and they'll pull a trailer in, because they think that they've got the right to do it. All right,
Bill, as we're moving forward and tightening up on these rules, we've got cameras now.
yeah.
So when you see that situation, we can get a timeline, if you can get their names. As we're moving through the legal process of this, we will find a way that we can deal with that in a good manner.
Okay. That'd be great. Bridge, I think that's what's gonna curtail some of it. Ridge Park, is due for mowing. We need to see if we can get a few people to go out and help pick up the branches and stuff before, what's his name that's up there? I didn't miss any of my items. I was marked off by him. Oh, the bedroom, bathroom doors have been propped open over here. They'll stick a stick right down in the door and leave the bathroom doors open. I don't know how you want that to happen or not.
You don't?
How do you, just a question on that issue, if you've got family of 10 people or something, and you bring them in, the person that's got that key, he's gonna be passing that key around all day, trying to let his family go to the bathroom. But, I don't know how you solve it, though.
Well, as you remember, we left it open for a while, and then we decided to start closing because everybody was coming in and destroying the inside. and
Yes,
back.
that's what
Why
they
we started it,
When
you
they
had to
get-
have a key to get in and out.
When the gate greeters are present, they open them up and they're open the whole time they're there, and then they lock them back, so.
Right.
Once we get to high time, then they don't have to have a key every time, you know, on the weekends when we have workers present.
Right.
And the garbage down at the park, over by somebody's, property on the right, people just keep throwing their garbage on the ground.
Which part?
On Point Park,
Uh-huh.
it's all over the place down there again. They get the garbage cans, but we've got them now with it, we put ours by our gate, outside our gate, and they put theirs, whoever lives up that road, dead end road, they put theirs there, but, right now, I went down there today, and it's garbage all
It's a
over the place.
mess.
I was gonna pick it up and somebody, sorry.
We won't do anything to get worse now that we're coming up on season, so.
Again, complaint of a person exposing himself out here in the parking lot.
Do we know who it was?
Who was
Probably, we're not
Is
gonna
it a
do
repeat
it.
offender?
I don't know.
I saw everything that fella has, that's.
Was it a shoot?
Is it? No. It was a young teen, I don't know his name or anything like that, except for what was written on the back of the truck, I'm not gonna say. But, I did come across the truck, and I had talked with the guys that were driving the truck that day, and told them that, if it comes up again, if there's another issue, I'm gonna call the police, and that won't be very good for this young fella on his record to, hey, you know, that's just the way it is, you know, we all know,
No,
we're all,
that's right.
you go back behind a tree somewhere, you do it good, you don't let people see you, but he did it right there in the parking lot, apparently, and, I don't think we need that for young folks to see. Let's see, we have non-members starting to moor their boats again at Point Park. I've had to go down there and jump. They actually moor their boat there, get up and use our park and barbecue.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, and told them you gotta stay out away from the shore. All right, let's see this one. Oh, yeah, Swanee seems to think they don't have to follow the rules, or the group anyway. I went down there and I got it on video cam on my body cam. I didn't ask them anything more than lock the gate, and they had already decided that they took care of their parks themselves, and they'll run people off that come in when they need to, and, I said, that's not, would you please lock the gate behind you? I said, that's all I'm asking you to do. And so, I asked, I did listen to him, well, I've got a fan I'll put in there, but I'm not now. Let's see. Talk to Terry about that dog getting in the park again. We're gonna have that issue, I don't care what we do, we're gonna have a problem with dogs. Terry already went over the boat ramp issue. I put some barbed wire around the A-frame, where the A-frame hooks up to this boat building, if people have been climbing over it. So, one thing that I think we need to discuss is have a walk around with the fence way down, farther down. Do something with that, because they're climbing over that too.
We're gonna talk about fence, in just a little bit.
Then and then I had some, member concerns, couple. One of them had to do with maps, the signage in the park, in the subdivision. They don't like the maps on there. They think that people that live here know where the parks are, and they feel that, those are there just for people that are visiting, and that for people that come for the Airbnbs and stuff, that's what the maps are for. And, they felt they were gaudy, they need to be smaller, and it doesn't need a map there, because the people that live here, and this is what their words, and people that live here know where the parks are.
But they've gotta realize we got a lot of new people coming in too.
Okay. Passing it on.
We got here.
Bill, I'll be honest with you, people that, have vacation homes here from way off that come maybe just a few times in the year, they can't find their way around here either. That's a fact.
I bought my place in
Yeah.
in '82, and until we moved here, I still couldn't find my way around here,
Yeah.
so.
But that's what happened with those signs about 15 years ago when they went up, because the Reverend board members couldn't find their way around.
Okay, well, that, I try to bring up what members bring to me whenever I'm out and about, and, they're also complaining about, I'm not complaining, they're also got issues with dogs in the parks too.
Bill, I think on the dogs, if we just keep discussing it and we keep focusing on it, we hopefully can minimize it, the great majority of people. You're always gonna have people breaking rules, but at some point, those that break rules will really break a rule and then something will happen. But, we can only do the best we can, but I think by discussing it and being aware of it and understanding the liability, it's all about safety anyway, that's what we focus on. So, you cross that off, Tommy. Okay, well, go ahead, Bill, I'm sorry.
It's all right, after hours, the high-speed ATV motorcycles, you brought that up, Chairman, and, also the loud music and after hours on these ATVs and, whatever, side-by-sides or whatever. And then the hot dog stand out front, which was discussed. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Bill, appreciate it. We'll, move on then to the maintenance committee report. Bill, you may have something to interject on that, but I'll let Tommy Matthews go first. He's got a few items, discussed. You got a bid there, I believe, on some.
Well, I got, the signage here, just take, I don't have enough for everybody. Take a look at it and, give me a approval on the price is $271.86 plus tax.
Okay.
And those are signs that Bill has asked for.
I talked to one of the other board members who kind of in our little committee of signs, and, he had.
So we're all DOT, we can't do the 5, or at least nobody can enforce it. DOT said that we cannot inject the sign speed limit, you know, that's a DOT issue, and they're not gonna support a 5-mile-an-hour sign.
On our road here?
Right.
Hmm.
So
Is it DOT or is it county?
Well, it was the Columbia County DOT who I talked to.
Okay, but that's the DOT state, and so
Right.
Columbia County does regulate the road, so,
Yeah.
okay, good. And that's what they said, what is the minimum for them?
15, I think.
Well, they said something about above, I don't know about Columbia
25.
County, I know it's, other counties, whatever's posted is what the speed limit is. They were saying others weren't enforceable, which I don't understand, if it's posted by DOT or the county, how it's not enforceable.
Everybody runs from the problem, don't they?
Well, pull on campus at UF,
Uh-huh.
do 20 miles an hour in a parking garage and see what kind of tickets you get. Or, you know, I mean, it's kinda like they got a 5-mile speed limit. And they'll enforce it, I know they'll enforce it. But it's like, why the county says they won't enforce anything above a certain number, I don't understand, cause if you're not gonna enforce a number, why are you gonna post a sign?
And the county doesn't really enforce it, the sheriff, enforces it, as it's placed, but, so they've gotta be working together.
I had a deputy out here tell me that he would not be able to enforce it. The one we had here for the,
East 15 or?
I would would say this much, you know, it's better to post it for the great majority of people, the ones that are gonna break the rules. It doesn't matter if you put 55 out there, they do 65.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
You know,
believe me. That's-
Can we bring it in front of Rocky and see what he can do with
Good. Yeah, I mean, they are the last, resort,
it? Right.
so, okay.
There's speed strips like they got on the maintenance thing on.
Appreciate you checking into that.
Speed strips.
Well, the other thing is, where the graders, they can do a speed bump. It's just really hard for them to do it,
Yeah.
but
I know where there's a
if
whole bunch
we're
of
not gonna
lines
have
that
them
take-
enforcing anything, maybe we need to try to force the issue about making the speed bumps. We can have them do some work.
The ditch.
You mean like a little berm?
Ditch.
Ditch, berm, either one.
Well, you're gonna get into a whole big legal thing.
Well, it's the county, the county's
Yeah.
supposed to maintain it.
Right.
Supposed to, the sheriff's
They're
supposed to
not,
protect it.
I know they're not gonna do that. We've discussed that with the county before. They don't wanna have anything to do with that. They just don't wanna deal with it. It's so irregular, the specifications, and maintaining it, you'll get beat every time with that. And you could have some liability because you caused a car to have an accident or damage by the time you
You've
got
got
through.
one in Fort White where you cut through to go back towards the school or whatever.
I hit it one time, yeah. I don't do it anymore.
No, but I mean, it's like,
I hit that one,
the
yeah.
county's putting them in certain places they wanna put them.
Right.
So if they're not gonna enforce the law, or they're not going to regulate the speed, why not put something there that will physically slow it down?
Why don't the county commissioner come out here on a busy Saturday morning? And
I'll
watch
invite
the
him,
number-
I'll invite him out here.
Watch the number of kids that come out the backs of people's cars, and then you can say, well, we've told you about this, Mr. Commissioner. And when someone gets hurt this summer, we're gonna let everybody know that we told you about it.
Okay, so we'll speak to the commissioner. We'll go back to the signs, Mr. Matthews. So these are $271, so the board's already, I believe, given you approval to do this, have they not?
I guess, I got,
We did.
got that.
Everybody read this Oder Park one, will you?
No,
I thought we had
You
one of
just want me
these
to-
at Coder.
make it,
How's this
what are
any
you gonna be doing
different?
speed limit signs?
The one on the fences.
Mr. Chairman,
Worn out.
Yes.
is this speed limit, is this for the county road?
Right down.
Because we can't, I know we've already discussed, we can't establish a speed limit for county roads. And if the county's not willing to do it, then law enforcement can't enforce it, so we're just kind of out of luck. But I don't know where the speed limit sign is going, where is it supposed to go?
We usually put it right
They put
outside
them-
the gate.
Those little fold-out signs right here,
Yeah.
that's what those are.
And I guess that's my other question, 15 mile an hour, is that been approved by the county commission?
Yeah,
It did.
yeah, we talked to them and they said, what y'all do there is because of your area being high density, they didn't want to officially to say it,
Oh,
you understand?
so,
But the bottom line is it slows down
yeah, and I agree.
95% or more.
I absolutely agree, but they won't even approve this unofficially though, right? So I'd say until we can figure what to do with that sign, we can't post. I mean,
Posted, they just don't have to.
But what if we just put it like slow?
Well, the
Oh,
15,
you know, just a sign that, slow, whatever,
Pedestrians.
but some kind of a accent thing in the middle of the road, which is gonna have to get somebody's attention anyway.
slow down spikes ahead.
Yeah. We could have airport spikes and come up the house.
I didn't say put spikes down, I just said. So what do you feel, board members? Just hold off on the 5 or,
Hold off on the 5, just.
I'd say don't do
All the
5.
signs back out.
okay?
I mean, that takes care of something.
Put up the signs,
We don't have any signs.
speed limit 5. Just put them up and let's see what the chips.
It wouldn't cause us any liability to do that, and the great majority of the people are gonna slow down. They might go 7 to 10, but we've been praying to try to get them below 15.
Most people, you're right,
the way to approach the county commissioner is saying, look, we have kids at risk here every weekend, and we'd like you to support a speed limit of 5 miles an hour. How can he say no to that?
You know, another thing is, it's all about visual, and if that's all you have, people may not buy into that, but for instance, if we had, say, cones on each end, a couple of orange cones with a flag up,
But they have in
Didn't
front
I-
of Winn-Dixie when you go
yeah,
shopping.
having a flag up, and then you have your 5 mile an hour, even though it might not be, it's not legal, it's gonna let people realize there's some hazard or something ahead.
Yes,
And
get
so-
a big poster and children
Right.
on your sign.
Cause it doesn't matter, you know, if we can't regulate that, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's on them if they do something.
We have people hitting them though, and so let's get something really heavy so it leaves a mark.
So we don't.
So make it up. Who's gonna pull it out there?
Make trailers, in those parks where they, like at the midpoint.
I think it's a.
Okay, so, Tommy, board, y'all wanna go ahead with the 5?
Yeah.
Charlie says no. How many wanna go with 5?
What do we have out here?
Wanna go with that?
Let's go with the 5. How many we got?
Sure.
Okay, Tommy, you don't care, you don't want to.
I don't care what it is.
Vonda, Terry, Vonda, not Terry, but
Oh, they gotta stay up.
I mean, so we don't have any liability
one on the
on
other
this?
side?
we don't have any, we have 15 and that's not legal.
Your others.
Yeah, so maybe
Oh, I thought you
go with
said
5.
15
I think it was.
Okay.
Did he say 15 was legal?
So you just, park here, so what do you do
To
with
be
that?
posted?
He said something under, something under 20 or 30.
25. Yeah.
I don't understand how that's.
Okay, let's get back to order here. Go ahead,
Just
Tommy.
one question, what if we just put, slow, children at play? And,
agree with.
and I think that says, I think it's gonna do more than this, they don't give a rat's behind about that, they're not gonna be looking at this people, but children at play sends a message. So you're gonna run over somebody, you're gonna run over a child, so slow children at play is something that, I would put, but if y'all wanna go along with speed limit, that's fine, but you can't establish speed limit. But
Put-
that's up to you.
Put both of them on
Yeah,
there.
just go on
Children
with
at
the
play
5
5 miles an
also.
hour.
Why not the 5? It might, if somebody's thinking it's 15, that could kill a kid. If they see 5 and they see children at play and they have the decency to slow down, that kid's probably gonna make it.
And there is a sign out there in the dirt that says 15, right out here.
There is
Okay, so, where are we?
both.
So
All
good.
of the above.
But if you're gonna have children at play, I guess we need to have a little child maybe with children at
Could you like the
play.
yellow with the kid
Yeah.
and the ball?
I like
or something
that
like
idea.
that?
We can't make me dress up like on board.
Y'all put too many signs, people's gonna be reading the signs and not looking at the kids when they run
Right,
along.
right,
Dress up like a kid.
I think down here you just about have to have pictures. The words.
Maybe children to play with, let's see what others.
Okay, we gotta come to some kind of a consensus here, move on, so what is it, board? What do you wanna do? What do we wanna do? Anyone wanna make let's have a motion on the.
I say children at play 5 miles an hour. That's,
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on children that play 5 miles an
Take the
hour.
speed limit part off.
Any discussion?
Yes.
All in favor?
You want-
Yes,
you want-
Tommy.
You want to put the miles per hour?
Yeah.
Again, or just put
the
5?
speed limit,
Just
5 miles per hour.
If we can't enforce it, why are we wasting money on it?
Let's see.
Well, but we're trying to, I know we can't enforce it, but we're trying to, to think about it and to not, you know.
I don't think that right now, the 15, we got permission to do the 15, but that's not even, that wasn't in writing.
Right.
Back when we were small and we didn't have 970 members or whatever, we were 100 or 200 members, that was kind of work. But now we're, yes, James?
Is there a way we could work to get that legit? The 15?
We can work on it, yeah.
Just, yeah, because I mean, it's like, the thing is you see people like my wife and other people, they see somebody just doing 50 miles an hour down here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you have a speed limit that is not enforceable,
Yeah.
then who's
They
gonna
go
remember
fast.
back when they took driver's ed on what
Right.
county road speed limit's supposed to be? And the thing is these deputies, they won't do anything.
No, they
But if
won't.
we get something I don't care if we move it to 25, if that's legal, if they'll
I
enforce
think
it.
most dirt roads are 25.
Right.
Is that right, Tom?
It used to be that if there's no sign posted, it's 35 maximum.
On a dirt road?
Yeah, but that was the
Is there a
max.
speed limit for
I
parking
just-
lots? Cause I consider that like a parking lot, and I would say you shouldn't go more than
But
five.
it's not.
Most well, it depends.
That's right.
People,
Parking lots are private.
Okay, Hilda, you have a question?
Yeah, I just Googled, traffic signs and they've got a slow down speed limit 5 miles per hour. They have a really nice one with pedestrian crossing 5 miles per hour, with a silhouette. So, you know, I don't know where, but I think we just need to,
Well, you know, the pedestrian crossing or children.
see like that one,
That way you can
Right.
say, all that, yeah.
slow down, speed limit.
That's gonna make it adhere.
Look at
Yeah,
that
like
one.
these.
Adherence.
Let me throw something, let me throw one more thing out and think about this, okay? Let me throw one more thing out. What happens up at the VA hospital by Winn-Dixie? You know, they've got the crossing there at VA and you typically have to stop.
Yeah.
If-
Flash it.
I mean, if somebody's coming, yeah,
I've already asked that one.
okay.
You're not supposed to park on the other side of the road to begin with, so there's not no such thing as a crossing here. Crosswalk,
Okay, great.
no
So-
crosswalk.
Slim.
I didn't say this, but that's what it's
Look
looking
out here, just kinda cool.
That's gonna, it's most concerned is children.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that guy.
I think we need a little dive, I think we need two of these on the barricades.
Yes, absolutely. If there's something down on the barricade, I'm okay with
I don't think we need 3 rivers, you know.
Okay, we're really struggling with, getting this done. Tommy, Matthews,
Do everything.
what's your,
I'll just put it all on.
Mr. Chairman,
Can you show
Where'd
them?
you go, where'd you go, Tom?
go ahead, Mr. Bradford.
never to compromise here. I would not put speed limit, but I would go along with, slow children at play 5 miles per hour.
He's got a sign here that would,
And they've got these slow.
I second it.
pretty much
Yeah, they got a lot of these slow children at play that don't.
okay, I have a motion and a second, so we're gonna be in discussion right now because we're gonna move on.
And some of these. The little guy holding the flag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kinda cool.
You don't need to reinvent the wheel, they're already there.
So this is gonna be 5 miles, M-I-L-E-S, per PER.
And look at what's on the.
That's a lot of words, it's gonna make it smaller. That would be better. I agree with that.
Okay, I did have a motion a second before he made that motion, so y'all, you wanna withdraw that and let's start fresh, or y'all wanna stay with your motion?
Yeah, I'll do it. I mean, we'll change it.
Okay,
I'll
so
make a
we'll
motion
withdraw
to
that
change
motion,
it.
we have a motion and a second on the floor then, Charlie and Tommy. I think they've got a couple designs here with, slow children at play and 5 MPH. We can do it in the pre-made.
Just pick one and give it to me.
That's right, there you go.
That one there.
So what's the pleasure of the board? We have a motion to second, we're discussing it right now, so
Make a motion to make,
we already have a motion and a second to go with, 5 slow children at play. With the slow kid.
We're saying that is a motion, so he has it.
Well, we're all slow children.
Well, they're not that fast.
Okay, or do we? No, come on, Charlie, we're gonna. I get it.
I don't know, I don't think we should put a speed limit since we can't enforce it anyway until we talk to the county. I think we should just put a slow children at play or.
We can just do that in order, just order the.
I think we're almost there. I'd like to ask the board then, we have a motion to second, but while we're in discussion here, why don't we, go ahead and get this defined with the county, see how far we can get them to go with this and explain. I know you probably, did you explain fully the detail of what we've got out here? Do they understand that?
Yeah, and they said that, well, if you put a sign out there, that somebody may ask you to move it.
Okay, and,
That was what they went through if we were to say the 5 mile.
and who would ask us to move it? Our county official or a state or?
County official or a deputy?
Uh-huh,
I don't really see them doing it.
can't imagine that. I
And if
can't
they
see a
did-
deputy asking you to move it because he might be liable if something happened.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna touch that.
That was what came out of their mouth coming from DOT, from the county road department.
Mr.
Okay, we're talking about the speed limit
Leave it to
sign.
the board right now, Joe, just a second.
I
Yes,
call for the question, let's see what the vote is and get this thing rolling.
okay, we have a, good with that? Okay, we have a motion second. I think you wanna read out what we said, Charlie? Is it a yellow sign? It's a child, it looks more official as a child.
Yeah, slow children at play. It's what all of them,
Rectangle and.
Can you see it?
Huh?
And does it have a 5 in it, or are we gonna leave the 5 out?
leave the 5 out.
Are we gonna
Yeah,
put,
well,
I think everyone wanted the 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Is
are we
it
planning to put
attached to
these
five?
on
that was
the
the
barricade or are these going in the ground?
I know I need to move there.
That's
I'm
a
getting,
Bill,
I'm gonna order some.
Okay, why don't we do this, okay, let's, if we could, withdraw the motion. Let's let, Tommy Matthews, myself, I think we have the gist of what you got. Let us go to the regulatory source one more time. James, if you could be involved in that, and if we have to get on a conference call with them, or whatever we need to do, we'll talk to the folks and explain fully what our situation is, and see what we can get by with. I think we all agree that children at play, slow down kids playing,
I think so too.
slow
That's perfect.
children at play.
With
Okay.
2 children running across.
So let us do that, and if that's the case, if we're this close with it, would you all agree that we go with it? Because we about wore everybody out with this one,
Yeah, yeah.
okay? You good with that?
Okay, now,
Yes.
I got this third sign on here, Hoder Park. Y'all tell me that's okay. We'll print it up.
I looked at it with you earlier.
Who came up with these graphics? The sign guys?
The graphics,
Yeah.
The print.
It's
Oh,
a
the
lot
print
of
part?
it's just so confused, so many different types and sizes, it's just.
yeah,
How big is the sign actually? How large is it? What's that?
I don't have, well, here it is, 24 to 36.
2 foot by 3
So
foot.
the right machine is actually great. Okay, I think that'll be all right.
It should be the same size as the other signs similar to this and the other parks.
Okay, with that.
If we were to add something to the verbiage here, I would probably get this prohibited, reduced in size, so there's more room for it, if you wanted to add something.
And I think the key thing,
If the
Tom, is,
dog thing is okay, then remember
the
that.
problem Bill's run into is someone says, there's not on the sign, where's it posted?
It
And
is-
95% of the people follow the rules. We have a few that don't, so it gives him a little bit of something, there it is on the sign.
Right.
That's what we abide by, that's the purpose of this.
Where's the sign something? Where's the
Okay,
Where
so-
would you post it at?
This one will be next, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's about near the gate down the front.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this one on the outside, but on, right where people put their key in, you know?
Yeah.
And it's right there. They used to have all kinds, all over the door and
You
stuff like that.
consolidate all that, right.
And this is kind of a consolidation of all those, but it's gonna be right there where they're putting their key in, they can see that stupid thing. Cause they just think, that's their big excuse, oh, I didn't see that,
But
well, let's stick it up here.
I think we need a second one down by the water for people coming up on
We
the
discussed
park.
that before.
Put it on a
But it
Well,
needs
we
to
got a
be
board
private.
down there, we got a board.
We do, but somehow, I mean, I like this, but I think under it has to say private, private.
Mr.
If we're
Chairman,
coming on the water.
what's the motion?
Well, hang on, this,
I'm lost.
what we're gonna do is that, we withdrew the motion, correct? We're gonna let our group go with what the consensus of the board was, we're gonna go talk with the officials, and that is on the speed limit sign. The rest of these, we really don't have to have a motion, we can do this consensually with this, because we've already talked about this, if the board agrees with that, then we'll move forward with the signs, okay? Are we good with that?
So the two outside,
Yeah,
park,
yeah.
no trailers without.
Except I think that we wanted to have private park, anything that's facing the water like that, certainly wanna have private, so Tommy, we're talking about 2 signs here for Hodar then.
So it's,
One of them will have private on the riverside.
park out over it or whatever.
Two of them signs on the end for Hoder, and the one of them had
sign down by the water, but somehow it needs to signify private park.
Can it just be an
For
additional
private.
sign, or a little sign that just says private park?
I would
Go
do
with that
that.
one?
You want the words private park added in all of this?
Somewhere, just so it signifies that they're coming off the water.
Or can it just be a
private.
little plaque, like above it, that says private park, and then that?
Yeah, that'd be the thing to do, just put a little, another little piece.
Just the additional one for.
That way I can use them around the other parks that are on the wall.
Okay, so let's move on with this. Are we in agreement? We're good with that? Okay. Madam Secretary, we have a consensus that we're gonna go with the two signs. We're gonna add private on the Hodar part. Our committee's gonna meet, with what we pretty much consensually agreed to. Yes, sir.
The Hodor Parks on the graphics are very confusing. There's too many fonts, there's bolds, there's not bolds. This could be done a little bit clearer, I think. I'll be happy to take a look at it. And the content, no problem with the content, but graphically it's just busy.
Okay, I think that the board would certainly agree to let you take that task. Yes, sir.
Okay,
We appreciate it.
I'm at a standstill until I
Yeah.
receive anything and everything.
Well, y'all worked together before, and so we've shifted slightly, so.
Content's good.
One of the signs on the riverside will have private. It meets the sign, that have a separate little piece that goes with it, that says private park. Okay. Well, let's do this now. Tom, do you have anything else?
Well, I'm worried,
I don't sign.
Okay.
one thing is, we already have a sign somewhere that says no mooring. I don't know if that,
That's point.
you and I had talked about that. You know, because like the Point Park and this
Which
park.
really would hit all the parks, no mooring.
I want a sign at the front gate that says, please read all signs.
We're getting beat up tonight, folks. I really hate that we have had to have this discussion on signs, but,
Mine went just fine.
so,
You got it.
I was gonna say, go put the signs over there, back, figure out which ones work, which ones don't.
You moving on, Chair?
of the signs we are, yes.
We're gonna move to
We
the,
pretty much have the consensus of the group and the understanding, and if we have anything drastic, we'll call the members.
Did you have any
Okay,
more?
we wanna move forward with signs. Okay, Mr. Matthews, you have, other,
all right. You know, I was, asked to, come up with pricing to repair and fix up the pavilion at Hodor Park. And the reason for that is we need to fix that up to where we can have meetings and start remodeling this structure. Okay? And I got 3 bids this time. So, the highest bid was $18,963.82. The, middle bid was $13,400. And the low bid was $8,000. Now, just to throw in my opinion about some things here, there was a wide discrepancy on these things. I know, personally, the high bidder and the middle bidder. I don't know the low bidder. The bids, just if you wanted to get an idea of their professionalism, the high bidder had a nice sheet here, spreadsheet, listed everything that he did. It was done nicely. The second one was okay. His handwriting's pretty good, but it wasn't typewritten and all, but it's still a good one. And then the third one was an email, very small. Whitten. Middle bid was Gary Johnson. And the low bid is Stepan, and I can't pronounce it, Carl or something like that.
Tommy, that project, just looking at the low bid, that project has more than 50% of, materials on that project. There's no way a person can do that job for that.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about going with Trex, aren't you?
How am I going with Trex?
So that's the plastic material.
What we wanna
Yeah,
do.
that,
So that we can last.
so there's something wrong with that bid. These two bids are much more competitive. I know both of those contractors, and both of those are excellent contractors. Mr. Trimmer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Matthews, who do you recommend, based on your experience?
Well, I would, the high two are both very good, but I would recommend going with the lower of the high two.
Which would be the 13,400.
Gary Johnson. But I wanna warn you, jobs always have things that you can't see. And more especially on our pavilion out here, we've got a whole deck we can't see in there, which.
So there should be change orders, is what you're saying.
That's what I was trying to put it in a nice place.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
A question for you on that though, based on the scope of work, though, what he could be doing though would fall within the scope of work, should not have any change orders, wouldn't that be right? You're talking about things associated maybe with the roof structure or some.
Yeah, well, the roof structure, we can pretty much see, but the flooring, if they tear off all that decking,
Yeah,
you're gonna expose all those, floor joists.
right.
And there's, you're gonna see some problems possible.
So we can negotiate that.
Yeah, we can negotiate that with the, and then there's some little bad areas, that's got rips in some of the tin covering, call it tin, galvan, whatever it is. And I don't think they picked up on that, so that might be a cause of a repair.
That's on this north corner up here.
Yeah, on the, northeast corner.
Okay.
And there's a place on the, southwest corner of where the lean-to part is. That, I don't know if they picked up on that or not.
Okay, so you're recommending, Gary Johnson Construction, so.
Now, the next question would be, when can he get started? And I asked him that tonight, in anticipation, and he said that probably about a week.
How long does he think it'd take,
I didn't ask him that.
okay? Well, he'll have to get on that job, because if he buys those materials, he's gonna be into it, so. All right, so, we have a motion, Mr.
I
Trimmer?
do, Mr. Chairman, I move that, we go with, Mr. Matthews' recommendation, at 13,400. If additional is needed, then, he can, of course, come back to the board and ask for, additional monies, which would likely be approved.
Yeah, I'd like him to be able to negotiate, but I don't think we wanna come back to the board unless it's maybe if it's within the, scope of, within the, of the high bid. But you could work that, and, you may wanna work with the, maintenance committee. And we just let the maintenance committee review that, if that's satisfactory.
This is gonna be a quick kind of thing.
Right.
I hope. And we don't wanna try to wait for a change order.
Okay. Would you be good with that, Mr. Chairman, on your motion?
I am, in fact, what you might wanna do is give him a ceiling, if you wanna approve additional monies, but that's up to a certain amount that he could negotiate.
Would you make that motion as part of the,
Well, okay, so I can
work your motion?
I'll move that, we go with the recommendation of Mr. Matthews at 13,400, initially, and an additional, 5,000, as a ceiling, up to 5,000 additional monies. If that's sufficient, is that gonna be sufficient? I guess is my
It should
question.
be more than that.
Yeah.
Up to 5,000 in addition to 13,400, that you would be able to, make a decision.
That maximum bid.
Yeah.
So we have got some motion, we have a second?
That's it.
Second by Sammy. Any discussion on the bids? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Tommy, anything else?
That'd be known as contingency.
Yeah, up to contingency, okay, yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Madam Secretary, if you get that.
Plus you are there.
Includes,
You're taping.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
buildings out there, the pavilion, and this building here too, is that the whole 9 yards, or just part of it?
Just the pavilion.
Just the what?
Just the pavilion.
Yes, well, we want this done, us women want this done. We've been using this for a long time, painting and
Where
stuff
would
like
we
that.
have a meeting if we, for
Huh?
under
They're
construction?
trying to get that complete, all the meetings, and then while they do this next.
Because we want to do this.
That's
What's the
right.
matter?
This is next.
But that's
Sassy,
just
this
an
is
old
next.
building, they can stand out there with an inner tube and a grill.
Sassy, this is next. You saw the situation we have a sign, so we just didn't wanna booger it all up. So that's next, okay?
That's all I'm saying, because we've been waiting on this building. This air condition sucks, the doors suck, bathroom's crappy, but we're going down to Point Park.
Is there anything you like about this building?
I'm just saying, I'm just saying.
Tell us how you really.
Okay. All right, we'll come back. Well, thank you, Sassy. We'll come back to order.
He's gonna do that next.
All right, so,
Oh, he's gonna do that next?
Yes,
Well,
that's
we've been-
next.
We've been waiting on this building for.
Okay, Tommy, you have anything else? You have anything else?
Haven't we?
Okay, we'll move on to communications. Vonda?
What?
Oh, my turn, Okay, so we're gonna start off with membership. As of right now, the Columbia County side, we're at 677 members. The Suwannee County side, 239 members. So we have a total of 916 members.
Very good.
I know.
And that's pretty, and this is early, still early in the season.
Yeah, April.
Yeah, because
We
we
haven't
get
even
the,
gotten to Memorial Day. It's
Right.
like, that's what people just, they
Wow.
don't have a key.
very good.
Um,
What else do you have, Vonda?
That's, mainly it. With the fish fry, we do need anyone that, any ladies, men, not anybody, but, help volunteer that day. She mentioned, putting the tent up the night before.
On Friday at
We
5.
could definitely, anybody wants to help with either selling the tickets or serving or getting ready or cleaning up, we welcome any help.
I'm not working, so I'm glad.
You're frying fish.
Okay, anything else, Vonda?
I think that's it. You wanna give a, camera communication where we're at?
We're having to build something to house the system down at Park, because, that's where we had a building, we never had a building. So we're gonna be building
At
something.
Point.
Yeah, Park. We're trying to come up with the best solution, I'm sure it's not a nice over and that sort of thing, so we're trying to get everything together right now.
Okay, all right. But you're moving forward with,
Yes.
Point, and I get, and it's vote rank, right? For that, okay? Anything else? Okay. We'll move on to, new business, and board members, you know that I've got to approve a new attorney. As you know, I, contacted you, a few weeks back, due to the fact that we had, an attorney in Gainesville contact us for the second time on a public records request. As you know, we're all volunteers, we're not legal minds, and, we've grown from, when I first got on this board, from about 125, 130 to now we're over 900 plus members. We're having a lot more exposure, pardon me? Oh, okay. So as you know, we're having a lot more exposure with issues. We've got, still a major lawsuit that's hanging out there from 18. We need legal advice. We really need an HOA attorney. So I did contact you to let you know we needed to get a response to the attorney in Gainesville that was actually one of our members is a client of his. And so just want you to be aware that through this process, we're going to be having to extend, I think I mentioned to you, potentially, it could be a little or it could be a lot, but we need to have an HOA attorney to protect us from a liability standpoint going forward. and to advise us on all of these issues, plus to help us go through and work all the facets of the requirements for a homeowners association. So we can get all these things in place and make this process a very easy process. The fact that we're all volunteers, it's very difficult for volunteers to take the responsibility for the fine detail things that have to be done. We're limping along from the business side with the girls that are doing a real good job, doing the best they can with what they've got. From the legal side, we've really been struggling. So I ask you to, at that meeting, to go ahead and let me contact Mr. McCarty in Alachua, who is a homeowners association attorney. He's been engaged with Jeff Braswell, the attorney for one of our members who's filed for these public records requests. So we're going to continue to work with that. He's already made contact with them. They're working out what we need to do to have records in place, and we can't worry about the prior year chairmans who did or did not have records in place or whatever. We can only go forward. What the purpose of this is to absolutely show a consistent method of having records in place. And it may necessitate in the very near future, as we get these legal pieces in place, considering the size of our association and the requirements there, as we're being pressed by certain members from TREPO wanting to have this and wanting to have that. It's not fair to take the time away from our board members to have to rush to do all of these detailed things when we're constantly accused of this or that, but it's never anything positive. It's always something negative when they go file these complaints. We don't have any problem or any fear of that. We just don't have the time and the expertise to exercise the things that need to be in place. So we're moving forward with that. I do have on here to approve Mr. McCarty. I've been working with him. I've got a committee together that will speak to Mr. McCarty. He will speak with me first, if that's the pleasure of this board. I've got the Mr. Trammell, I've got Terry Hester, I've got Vonda, and myself will actually work as a committee to bring things before this board of a legal nature that we need to discuss, but we're not going to discuss the legal matters when we don't have to. We will bring it before you when it's necessary, and he will guide us through the HOA rules and processes. So with that being said, and then with the point I was making a moment ago, a lot of the detail work that we need to be doing, it's just almost impossible for us to do as volunteers, especially when we're changing people out. So one of our next moves here, after we get everything settled and calmed down with our attorney and our legal matters, we're going to start looking at potentially an HOA property manager for us, so that that person can check all the boxes, focus on all of that work, assist us with all the filings and contracts and necessary paperwork, notices and whatever, and work with our attorney to do that. It does mean, though, that our dues will probably have to go up because we're being forced to do this. When we were an organization of 125 or 200 members, it was pretty easy to deal with. But going forward now, we have no choice but to put these things in place and protect our 11 big properties that we all own on the Santa Fe and the Itchcutney. So we want to do it right, and we want to make sure that people see that there's no one defrauding or taking advantage of or not doing anything in the best interest. Most of you lose money serving on this board because of the time and energy, and a lot of times you don't turn things in, you don't give expense reports, you just get the job done, and it's very much appreciated. I wish people really did understand how hard and difficult that is, but you do a good job. But going forward, to manage 900, we'll be 1,000 members. We've been found. So we've got to do it right. These things that we talk about, safety in our children, in our parks, preservation of this river. If you don't preserve that river, it's not worth living down here. So at the end of the day, with the glass and the cans and, the big bad wolf that we have out there roaming the park doing, we want every bit of that, because good people don't have a problem. They know exactly how to follow the rules. The purpose of getting in place a legal team and potentially down the road a property manager, the purpose of that is so that the board that's elected can see the vision, have the time and energy to look at the big picture. What can we do on the big scale? How can we help preserve these rivers? How can we help our members? Right now, we're constantly being pounded on by individuals for whatever their motivation or reasons are, but it's never good, and it's okay. We can deal with it. We have nothing to hide, but we want to do a better job at it. So that's my speech for tonight. So anyway, I would ask you to approve Mr. McCarty. I had a private conversation with each of you. We've already started working with him, but I would like to get an official approval tonight to approve Mr. McCarty.
Mr. Chair, this is long overdue, and I am so glad that we've now brought it to a head where we can make a decision. As you know also, that if you act on the advice of council, you drastically reduce your liability, I mean automatically. Just with your permission, I'd like to move that we approve the official retention of the lawyer, Mr. McCarty, as discussed, and that all information and discussions pertaining to legal issues be channeled through the chair of the board, yourself. That's my motion.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second by Rick. Oh, who?
Tommy Matthews.
Tommy Matthews. Okay, is there any discussion from the attorney? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Old business. Do we have any old business? Yes, Tommy.
I'm gonna need keys, I'm gonna let this be, this gate, chain link gate.
Yes.
Be the access point for the contractor.
Yes.
And,
Okay.
and of course, he's gonna need a key to get in the bathroom, so.
Why don't you just put a stick in the door? Okay, I think we can work that out. He does have to give it back though, at the end, so, do we have any other, business, old business? Did you have something?
Well, a quick one, it relates to dogs in the park. I did get another complaint by a member whose son was approached by dogs last year and who again had the same experience this year, even though she had been told that we had taken dogs, that we had a committee and had no dogs allowed in our parks with the exception of the two parks, camping and fishing. So she was distraught. Her son was again antagonized, and she is just at her wit's end. She doesn't know what to do about it. She has not been able to come to the parks for this reason. And her son is, I don't know what his issue is, but he's.
The special needs.
Yeah, he's autistic.
I have video of that, so, on my body camera of that incident last year. I brought it to y'all's attention last year, and that was crazy, you know.
And it happened again this year. It happened again
I thought I
last
was
week.
gonna have to go out and get the young man,
Yeah.
and it was because of Rocky, the dog that everybody let walk.
Rocky?
Yes, it was. But the issue was that he's afraid of dogs, and he was out in the middle of the river. Rocky wanted to greet him coming in out of the river. He's either autistic or what, mental special needs. I don't know exactly what it is. And he started going, losing cool, getting excited and nervous, and Mom had to try, and these aren't young women, he's an older gentleman.
Oh, she's probably in her 80s.
Right, and she's trying to run over there to get to her son, and she's skinned her leg and stuff to
He's
do.
too afraid to come out of the river.
And he's afraid to come out of the river.
Mhm.
And all these people that want dogs in the stupid park, I think they ought to be sent this letter.
Yeah. This particular dog you're talking about,
It's probably
yesterday I had to put my cat food up because he knows exactly what I'm doing. I saw Rocky out of the corner of my eye.
Why don't we turn?
Last weekend, I saw a child swimming on a dock, and that child had its dog. Rocky ran through my yard, jumped in the river, and started swimming out, and I wasn't sure. Father had to jump in to get his child. I don't know if this is the same one. Had to get his child because he was afraid that those two dogs with his son was going to have an issue.
Right.
So, I'm not sure. Swanee County. This dog lives in Swanee County. It's a great dog. I mean, I'd love to have a dog, but he's in violation of all the rules. So perhaps maybe we need to have a conversation with. I mean, that's a free range dog, and it's a good dog, but doggone that, it's we can't make an exception. I don't know what you do.
This poor lady wants her child to come here and enjoy the river just like everybody else.
Right.
She should have that
So,
right.
do we know who owns the dog?
All you have to do, the dog is registered in Swanee County, and there is no leash law in Swanee County whatsoever, there's not one.
There is in Columbia County. If you come
There is in
over.
Columbia County, but we couldn't, our animal shelter, I don't think would get the dog in Columbia County. I think we need to call animal control in Swanee County and just say we have a major complaint on this dog, they will do something.
But if he crosses state lines, it's a.
Yeah, they can catch it.
What kind of dog is it, Blair?
Okay, we're having too much fun with this. What do we need? Do we need to get the owner's phone number and address and go have a talk with
I
him?
posted this picture.
That's all we can do.
The dog's picture, because I had him too for a little while.
Because technically, if the dog, the county's fixing to possibly get into code enforcement, so that'd be their problem.
But not soon enough, so,
I saw the owner of the dog.
So Hilda, what do you want us to do?
Find the owner of the dog. Well, and it wasn't just that one dog, by the way, there's another dog, and he's already been brought up at this meeting, but there's an older man that also brings his dog and their buddies. And I witnessed them going in and out of the water. So dogs are an issue. We cannot allow them in our Itchtucky parks, only on the 2 parks of the Santa Fe. You need to just get rid of these people who are bringing them there.
So that we'll just throw it back to our enforcement rules and do the best we can with that. That's all we can do.
Well,
Feel sorry for the child. Yes, James?
Well, I think if we have an owner, that we could document it, and probably the board needs to send them a letter. We have these issues, we've already discussed it, we tried to make exemptions, due to insurance, we can't. But anything that doesn't have an owner needs to call animal control. Columbia County, Swanee County, whoever.
Well, if the dog comes in Columbia County and he's not on a leash,
Yep.
and so if he is taken by Columbia County, they're gonna have to pay about a $1,500 fine?
Yeah, we can get the dog picked up if you want the dog picked up.
But dadgum, I can't do it, so somebody else has to do that.
Well, believe me, I'll call. If I see it, I'll call.
Okay.
Who was the lady the other day that some dogs, stray dogs, tore through her screen door and killed her?
Yeah, sure did.
Right, so
I don't think we know who those, do we know those dogs?
Oh, I don't know.
No.
But I mean, there's pictures of strays on Facebook all the time.
So all we do is the best we can with what we've got.
1,000 members versus 100 members.
Bill keeps enforcing the rules, and we know that there's a leash law in Columbia County. Bill, do you have anything else?
I don't.
Okay.
Audience?
I have something to say.
Okay, Laura?
I didn't tell you about this, I had to go to another trip to Branford today, late this afternoon. For all of you that are using the cart pass on the, and riding your vehicles, and your highway patrol was parked on the cart pass today, they were working the cart pass, so, yeah, there was one on
That's a
Columbia County
bicycle
side,
pass.
and there was one on Swanee County.
The bicycle. And,
Yeah, I'm just saying,
hiking.
they had their vehicles actually blocking the cart pass to catch whoever was coming.
noted. Any other business, board? Yes, Rick?
Just a quick status report in the newsletter mailing.
We don't do anything quick.
I protracted the discussion of the newsletter then?
Yes, quick.
You'll do things.
It went out, didn't it?
It went up.
Today, went out today.
Oh, went out today?
I emailed you, let you know.
I'm done, that's good, thank you.
Wow.
US Navy.
That was quick. Rick, anytime you wanna bring something up, Rick, let us know. All right, Mr. Chairman, you have something you wanted to discuss?
Mr. Chairman, real quickly, this is an ongoing safety issue. We've talked about it, many times in the past, talked about some today. Obviously related to the parking and the traffic in front of the parking area at Hodor. And so I would propose that we consider moving the chain link fence in 6 to 10 feet in toward the park itself. We've got enough room. And then that's a lot. That would help a lot as far as parking's concerned and giving people additional space behind their vehicles to do whatever it is they need to do, whether it be removing tubes or floats or whatever. But I think that would provide a little additional safety for people who park there. And I think it'd be worthwhile. It's just 10 feet at the max.
But
So-
would the gate stay where it is and then?
Probably would need to not leave the gate like it is, because it's such a structure, and we could just go back to that point.
Yeah.
Well, where the small
with that-
pavilion is, it's already close.
That's what I was.
It's already close to the
The
fence.
small pavilion.
Right.
Small
How close
pavilion's
is it?
already
Is there
close to
enough?
the fence.
I don't think it's that close, though, is it?
Yeah. I
Well,
wanna
it's
measure
closer
it.
than the pavilion,
I wanna
you
measure
can
it.
go 10 feet, 6 feet.
And I might point out that you notice we've got a little bit of work going on right now to put a berm on that south end. Part of the issue with that is that the water that's coming off of the street, our property there is lower. There's the easement out front with the county and the power company. Outside of our fence, about 10 or 12 years ago, some neighbors complained about the water, not you, Rick, complained about the water building up on the street there. So the county came in and leveled that down, we brought that down a foot from our gate to our south point. And so what's happened is all that water off the street has come through and just cutting gullies all down. It worked great before when it ran along the fence line. So what we're doing right now is putting a berm up. Thought might be that that fence could literally go on top of the berm and give us a little bit higher fence, because we do have some breaches there. By putting it up on top of the berm be, we manage the berm real tight. And then what we're hoping to do is when we can get it pushed this way, there's already a ditch, a drainage ditch that's full of leaves and whatever. We may need to go in and put some silk cloth or work up some kind of a stop barrier where it spills over to slow down the speed and cut out the erosion. And I think that'll help that part of the park there and cut out, because what's happening right now, the walk path is completely getting blown out. So, we're working to fix that. Might do that in conjunction with the fence. Bill mentioned about midpoint with the fence. And then in the back here, we're having some breaches on this back side here. We've got a group of kids that are constantly, so we really wanna take a look at this fence on the back and see what we can do to, make that a little more secure. So we might go ahead and get talk to a couple of fence companies to see what we could do in taking down, moving, putting back. We'll save an awful lot of money with the materials that we have in place, and then we can fix these other points. What are your thoughts? And we can go out and get some bids and come back to the board and see what we've got. But in the long run, to get those cars off of that road to where there's another 6 or 8 feet from the road, that would be huge for these young children. Just because right now, these cars are sticking out into the road. Bill's got some ideas for drop-off that would give us a little more capacity to create a proper drop-off lane and still let the road be navigable. So it could be a win-win all the way around. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take a look at that and see what we can come back with and present to the board on some quotes for the fence. So anything else, board members? Anything else? The meeting's adjourned.
No.
New business?
No.
Oh.
Questions and answers. Two things.
appreciate all the security lighting we have here in Hodor. I think it's very, very important. It's obviously on just a light-sensitive switch. I'd like to have motion sensors put on, a couple of them facing the north direction. It's so piercing all the way north. We've gotten our neighbors from north to shut off their lights downstairs for the sake of the owls and wildlife, that type of thing. I think it's very
You're
important.
talking about these,
The back of the A-frame's got the two-do floods, which are just
okay.
on all night long.
Horrendous.
And if we just get them on motion sensor.
Bill, why don't we take a look at that and see what we can do? That might be a good idea, sure, that's a great idea. Is that wired directly to us? It's not, I mean, it's not power company, is it? Send us a bill or?
We got it wired to them, Hilda.
You ought to be able to take care of that problem then.
Oh, I'll shoot it with a BB gun anyway.
Okay, anybody here? Okay, Jesse, what you got?
The boat ramp park, I was putting my boat in a couple days ago and it's severely washed out. I mean, like 2 foot, 1 foot, every 5 or 6 feet where you can't really, you gotta really be careful to get your boat in there. It's pretty washed out. I just, brought that to the attention to the board. And also at Bridge Park, there's a tree that fell on the fence last year that's still laying there. The fence is crushed in. I've seen some kids actually accessing the park through that.
Okay, we'll throw that in the
Also,
soup.
where are we gonna get a grill down there?
We'll throw that in the
On the Bridge Park. There's one grill down there that's good. It's still got that old one from years ago that's like rusted and falling apart.
At Bridge Park?
Yeah.
Okay, I think John's got,
About Bridge Park, all the kids have to do is walk down about 20 more feet, and they can walk into the park.
Oh, yeah?
yeah, that's kind of.
Because of the tree.
The tree don't have anything to do
He
with it.
means on that second property,
If
it's
they
private
walk, if they
property.
walk down about 20 or 30 feet, they
They're
can walk
trespassing.
into the park.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
it.
that's well noted, we'll throw that fence in,
I'd be willing to remove that. I'd be willing to remove that tree debris, if you got it.
I didn't see you do that, so,
Huh?
I didn't see you do it, so.
Okay.
Okay, is anything else? Donna?
Hey, good evening. So, I am your across the river neighbor. I live in RV, just so you know. So with me living in Gilchrist County, and I work for the Alzheimer's Association, they have no paid staff between Tallahassee and Jacksonville except for me. I cover Tallahassee and Jacksonville and everything in between. Now, here's why I'm here, is because I live in Gilchrist County, and for 20 years, I worked for the American Red Cross in Georgia and also North Florida, and I know what it's like to watch the resources stop at the county line. So I don't do my job in Gainesville or Jacksonville or in Tallahassee. I do my job in rural communities. So that's why I'm here. I'm coming to homeowners associations to teach you one important thing. Every single family here, I would imagine, has been impacted in one way or another by Alzheimer's and dementia. Is that correct? Did you know there's free resources available to help caregivers? That's what I thought. That's why I'm here. And I'm going to be real quick about it. I'm going to distribute a piece of paper to everybody. It's got a phone number on it. This piece of paper will wind up somewhere lost. You'll never find it again past tonight, and I know that, and you know that, and that's
Not
okay.
at our age.
Well, so anyway,
We won't,
but I
we
want
have
you.
to put things where we can see it and put a lock on it.
Yeah. So I want you to plug this number into your phone. Let me tell you what this number does. It's 24/7. It's staffed by master level clinicians with degrees and training in gerontology and dementia and Alzheimer's problem solving and resource identification. Right here in North Florida, this phone number allowed a family back at Christmas to get a new security system for their home because one of their family members has middle stage Alzheimer's, and they are now wandering out and becoming a safety risk. So, y'all know how long it takes law enforcement and ambulances to get here. You know how long that takes. These people can help you head off plans, head off problems. They can help you make plans. If you become a caregiver, they can answer questions about what to look for. We teach classes about the 10 warning signs, how to improve your chances, how to get testing, how to access memory care resources. We even have resources to be able to help you navigate what do I do, what are my next steps if somebody in my family is diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer's. Now, there's a whole bunch here, there's a bunch of websites here as well for all of that, but this phone number is the one most important thing, and I can't tell you how important it is. It will save somebody's mental and physical health if you become a caregiver, and if you've ever walked that journey, that is a hard road to hoe, as you know. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to pass out some of these, it's just a single, strip of, single piece of paper for y'all, want to keep it. Okay, we get another one going back there, and save that number in your phone. Now, again, listen, I can stay and answer questions or whatever, and I would love to come back and teach a class at the community level to this neighborhood. Would love to do that, something simple as the 10 warning signs, or effective communication, or just a class on what to do next when you get that diagnosis, if y'all would invite me to come do it. Again, I just live right across the river, so I'd be happy to do it. Any questions for me right now?
John, I'll give you my number, and you can catch me, I know you pretty well.
Absolutely. There's a sign-in sheet going around, and put your number on there, Glenn, for me. Okay. All right? Anything else for me?
Thank you.
Thank you for.
Thank you, Donna, appreciate
Get
it.
some feedback and set up a thing for you to come talk to the community.
Perfect. Perfect, absolutely.
Oh, that's ours,
Just depends, there's a lot of factors in that, but there could be some opportunities there.
All board members signed in?
I didn't, you mean on the regular time?
Yes, regular. This is.
Yeah, that's fine. Perfect.
That's your pen over there.
Oh, I gotta have that back. I'm kidding.
Mr. Chairman, are we adjourned or?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
I'd make that motion.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah, we're adjourned. We were having so much fun, sorry.
No, you're good.